enkrat, dobrodošli nazaj. Sledi predavanje doktorice Conchi Piñeiro. Slednja je predstavnica upravnega odbora organizacije FUHEM in članica kooperative Altejko. Diplomirala je na področju okoljske znanosti ter končala doktorski študij z področja izobraževanja za okolje. Ima tudi večletne izkušnje z znanstveno-raziskovalnim delom na Avtonomni univerzi v Madridu. Doktorica Conchi Piñeiro ima številne izkušnje z področja znanosti, vključno z usposabljanji in projekti na državni in mednarodni ravni, denimo v Latinski Ameriki in v Evropi. Je avtorica več kot 30 znanstvenih publikacij. Kot soustanoviteljica in strokovnjakinja inštituta AIFESE je Conchi Piñeiro poseduje tudi diplomo iz procesov in globoke demokracije. To predavanje bo posvečeno delu pogleda na ekosocialno izobraževanje, ki ga v zadnjih desetletjih razvija organizacija FUHEM. In naj še omenim, da FUHEM je španska fundacija, ki spodbuja družbeno pravičnost, krepi demokracijo in trajnost ter ekosocialne aktivnosti. Doktorica Conchi Piñeiro, prosim, beseda je vaša.
Many thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel honored to follow the inspirational session that we had with May, and after listening to her and listening to all of you with your different experiences, I feel part of a bigger community. And I feel like I'm today with all of you, that we are somehow part of this bigger community of people engaged with eco-social transformation. I feel more at home after listening to all of you. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for the invitation again. And I will share in the beginning some examples just to give some context about the eco-social education approach that I would like to share more in depth. But first, for me, it's important to explain a little bit where this is nurtured from. So I will share the screen just for, yeah, it's working. So I will share the screen and just explain very shortly some of the experiences that we have in our schools at FUHEM, at the foundation that has just been introduced in the presentation. So as it was said, it's a foundation, and currently the foundation was started in 1965, and currently we have 4 schools, where 3 schools and 1 a smaller school for 0 to 3-year-old children. The other ones are bigger. Just to give you an idea of the people that are part of the foundation, we are 4,600 students. We have 4,600 students, and we are around 400 people working in the foundation. So people at the schools, but also people that belong to the services, and also we have a research team that also develops educational materials. So this is more or less like the background where I would like to speak from. So some examples that may illustrate some of the work that in these schools is being done. These recent examples of Colegio Montserrat, for instance, you can see in the images are related to outdoor activities in nature. So we are talking about place-based education. And in the introduction, there was already a definition about what we understand about place-based education, and also in the invitation for the conference. So nature is one of the key aspects, and it has been explained before in the previous session. And here are some examples. For instance, the Challenge March, which is an activity that has been developed 10 years now. Students go walking for 3 days to a place in nature, from the school to a place in nature. So they enjoy all the experience of walking together, learning through the environment, but also the march has a purpose. All the kilometers that they manage to go forward and backward, they are transformed into money that they give to an organization that they have been researching, which was the more suitable organization to donate for the situation of the community and the globe in that year. No? So, for instance, that's an activity, no, that we can share. So, so maybe just this gives you an idea type of activity that we do. Another example from Colegio Hipatia, which is another one of our schools. They are very committed to a local informal settlement that is just very close to the school. There is Cañada Real, which is an informal settlement that suffers lack of electricity since October 2020. So as it is very close, and some children from this settlement come to the school, not from the place where they don't have electricity, but from very, very close. There are many different activities that connect the school with understanding and addressing all the situation that is close by. So activities indoor are focused to with the local community in its diversity, which I think is one of the key aspects of place-based education. Another example can come from Colegio Lourdes, and in this case, the example is more related to historical research and the historical aspects of places. So in this case, the example is related to walking together not to forget. As you know, civil war in Spain was in 1936 to 1939, and there are some places in the city where you can feel the war took place there, and you can see some buildings or some places that recall the war. So visiting them and it can be another entrance doors for integrating all these democratic and historical memory in the curriculum. And well, so this is another example of how to connect with the city, schools with their city and the history, thanks to this approach to place-based education. So all these examples for me are important just to give you an idea of the diversity of activities that are done in our schools. And we also work not only with the schools that belong to the foundation, but also that are public, partially public. I don't know the term in English for this kind of agreement that is like public school, but managed by social entities, let's say, which this is the kind of situation for our school. So we work not only in our schools, but we also work in a network of many other schools in which we develop these ideas about social education. So what is eco-social education for us? For us, it's training students, but not only students. It's training the whole community, training even ourselves to be active agents for social justice, democracy, and sustainability. For us, these are the key aspects to address, and it's important just to start giving. One of the challenges that we are addressing in the last years is that ecosocial education to be more known in Spain. It has been seen as an evolution of environmental education, and therefore more related to the ecological aspects of environmental education. But for me, environmental education and also ecosocial education have very important components of social justice and democracy. So not only the ecological aspects need to be addressed, but if we really want to have an ecological transition, this needs to be just and fair. And so therefore, we really need that is an eco-social transformation with all these dimensions. So I want to make here a first pause, which is to really check if this challenge is also shared in the context of Slovenia. So if you really have this same challenge, that when you develop eco-social education, it's or when you speak about it, it's more seen as with this ecological aspect and not so much with these other social aspects that are totally connected and needed to be addressed together. So I just want to maybe hear some voices if this challenge is shared. So, but that will help me also to share more about how to address that in our experience. Before, I heard someone was talking about social differences, and that was good news for me, that someone in the first conversation brought social differences already. So maybe that's an opportunity to build on more what already was said about social differences. The challenge is shared. Okay, so Mateja, you already answered. The challenge is shared. Thank you. Okay, so that's already more common ground to build together as a big community. So I don't know if anyone else wants to say something about this challenge, how you live this challenge, or it's okay for now and we can move on. I will just wait for 1 minute just to check if someone wants to say something.
Jaz bom na hitro eno intervencijo. Lepo je videti, da se danes stvari spremenjajo. Je pa tako, da še par let nazaj, da se je trajnost in okoljsko izobraževanje fokusiralo predvsem strani na naravoslovje, na recikliranje v šolah, pa tudi kar smo opazili tudi skozi naše delo, je, da se na primer same podnebne spremembe zaznavajo kot nekaj oddaljenega, kar ni povezano z nami. Tak primer je, na primer, da vprašamo učence ali pa se tudi odrasle, kaj je prvo, kar jim pride na misel, ko govorimo v zvezi s podnebnimi spremembami, je sneg oziroma led, ledeniki, ki se topijo na severu, ne? In to je en tak pokazatelj, da nekako nismo, oziroma zdaj zmeraj bolj smo dejansko povezani s tem, kar se dogaja. In sploh, da mogoče tega ne dojemamo kot neke družbene problematike.
Thank you very much, Madja. I think that's good news for all of us that is changing. And I don't know if someone else wants to say something. If not, we can move forward. I see there are moments that I see people opening their screen, and then I'm not sure if they're opening the screen because they want to start the speaking, or it's just a way of being more present. But I just want to acknowledge that I see you, that I see you opening your screens and coming closer, which for me is really nice. Creates a better atmosphere. So I don't know. Yeah, we move forward. Yes. Okay, great. So so things are changing, and I think that's one aspect that is really important. And for me, the eco-social education, what brings us as educators, I consider myself also part of the educational field, let's say. So I'm happy to share that those challenges and those beauties and strengths. I think what is for me now the aspect, because things are changing, I keep constantly asking myself, well, not constantly, that gets that doesn't let me rest, but very frequently I ask myself, how do I relate now to this eco-social crisis? Who is me now, or who I am now in relation to this eco-social crisis? How do I feel? What do I really aim for? Why do I dream about? You know what I mean? And I really want to take you a moment to take this question seriously. How do you feel now regarding the eco-social crisis? Just take a moment. And maybe you need to really take a moment. You really need to go backwards in your seat and maybe look outside the window and just really take this moment to answer this question. How do you feel? How do you relate to this eco-social crisis now? And when you take a moment, maybe you want to write down something or draw something, or you want to write in the chat. I don't know, just something that really help you to deepen in the answer. Taking care of yourself also, because maybe you don't want to make it public, because maybe you do. So just take these few seconds to ask yourself about that. I know sometimes it's strange to have like a personal moment or an intimate moment in a big conference. And at the same time, I think it's important that we give us permission to do these kind of things. So that we really take we muscle this capacity to go inside when we are in the middle of many, many people. So to train this capacity. So just a few more seconds if you want to write something or if you want to draw something. And I see some people are like looking down, or so I see, and maybe people are still reflecting, and some people want to speak. That's great. Mateja, go ahead. I don't hear you. You have the, yeah. Yes, now.
Se slišimo? Lepo. Thank you, Conchi. If I may, I would just like to read the comment in Slovene from the chat. And I will speak in Slovene. So, podnebne spremembe so sestavljene iz dveh besed. Prva se nanaša na naravoslovje, druga pa na družboslovje in humanistiko, recimo spreminjanje naših navad. To je napisala gospa Špela Klofutara.
Thank you. Thank you, Mateja. Yeah, and I see also some other people are saying, no, it's so important not to rush and take this moment. And I wanted to bring this. Maybe it's too soon to share these kind of feelings or answers that we have to this question, but I think it's very important that we model as educators, that this is part of our lives, part of ourselves, and not only part of our knowledge, but also part of the things that we deal with in our daily lives. I think it's so important, modeling that this is part of our emotional field as people that live in this planet, because this is so much related to vulnerability. And vulnerability is so much related to what we really want to address in ecosocial education, which is eco-dependence and interdependence. We really depend on nature to be in this. We are nature, and we really depend on nature to be living, and we depend on each other. We are vulnerable as humans. We are vulnerable as living beings. So I think it's really important that we are aware. And I'm sure that we know in our bodies, but maybe sometimes we are more into addressing like the important aspects, and thinking important aspects are like the bigger ones, the outside ones, which are very important. But also this is a multidimensional crisis that has to be addressed at all levels of transformation. And one key level of transformation is the personal one. The other one is the collective one that we are going to address as we are in schools, and linked to community, which is another level. And also, you know, all the other social levels that we know at the global level as well. So this emotional aspect, the emotional dimension of the multi-crisis or the eco-social crisis that we are living, for me, it is really important to take into consideration in the eco-social education. Yeah. So I just want to encourage you to take this question. So you can also bring this vulnerability and this relation regarding the emotional aspects of this crisis to the schools, because I think it's really important to the schools and to the teachers' meetings, or to meetings like this one, to really acknowledge that we are human, and we have this kind of relation to the crisis. You know, did I explain myself? I don't know if it was understandable, but I see some people are nodding. So I guess I trust that this is there. So thank you very much. Then I also, after this, I really want to share, like, I will change like the flow, and I will be very, because I like changing, it will be very tac, 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 tac now. Yeah. So I will just go through what are the key 8 aspects that we, after all this research and work, we really think ecosocial education need to address. Yeah. So let's go to this kind of tac, 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 tac. Yeah. And we will see these 8 aspects, and I will share my screen again. So we can go through them. Yeah. So as I was saying, one of them is eco-dependence. Yeah. Eco-dependence. We are part of the web of life. We really need to address through our different activities, learning activities, the eco-dependence. Yeah. The second, I put the numbers, but it's not that they have a hierarchical order, but it's more that we are sure that we have the 8. Okay, so eco-dependence is one that is really, really important. Then the functioning of the biosphere. We really think it's important that this scientific aspect is also understood, that we understand how the biosphere works, for instance, the planetary boundaries, and also, as May was saying before, we value biomimicry. We value the way that nature has solved has found their own solutions, and so we can copy nature. So we can really go for nature-based solutions for this kind of when we need to address needs or challenges or problems, that we really go through nature-based solutions to really go for it. So that's the second one. The third one is the civilizational crisis, this multi-crisis that we were talking about, acknowledging that this is a multidimensional crisis, that it has the planetary boundaries, as I said, and that we really need effective solutions. So as you see, the main eco-social learnings, for sure, they are interlinked, yeah? So then the fourth one is being agents of social change, yeah? So really understanding the role of collective action, the importance of teamwork and how this can be developed in many ways, and the emotional intelligence that we need to go through this crisis, that we are using to go through this crisis, in fact. So maybe we can speak about this later, but we know that eco-anxiety now, for instance, is something that we are really facing in our schools with young people. So how to address this kind of emotions that drawn us from going into collective action, how to develop empathy, how to have emotional tools to cope with all the spectrum of emotions that we can go through when we think about the future, yeah? So the fifth element is personal and community development. So addressing really, how do I develop myself internally? How do we develop as community? What do we need for self-care? What do we need for caring our relations? What is the role of interdependence in our lives? Yeah, in the different stages of life, we really need care in different moments of our life. So, and care can have many shapes. So really understanding this role and the role of care, and this the importance in our personal and community development. Yeah, here also for us it's important to be aware of the feminist perspective that really values that care has been in the context of the patriarchy and the socialization in gender roles. Care has been a part of the socialization of women in many cultures and places. So to really value care and talk about how to share this all this work of care among everyone, yeah, to really distribute these tasks of care, yeah. So this is also part of this. Then the sixth element is justice. So as we were saying, developing an intersectional perspective, which this means having into consideration different dimensions of power and how it affects people in their ways of being in society, in the school, in their relations. So things like class, gender, racialization, or color of skin, and all the social systems around, all the social aspects that creates imbalances, yeah, that are part of this structure that creates imbalances among different people. So this is part of understanding justice, understanding inequities, and looking for ways of addressing our needs. that doesn't need to put down other people or build on our privileges to have access to address our needs. Yeah. Then the seventh principle is democracy. So we really need to deepen in participation, egalitarian decision-making processes, conflict transformation tools, and all that create that our schools are also democratic. Yeah, that they really deepen in their understanding of democracy, and that we have different levels of participation and possibilities, so that this eco-social transformation is owned and run by everyone in the community with their different possibilities of time in their different moments of life. And then the eighth element is the eco-social techniques. We really also need to analyze technologies and identify appropriate technologies. So these are the main 8 eco-social learnings. Yeah, I went quickly, but I thought it was important to really go to the core, go to the synthesis of our research and our development in these years, and then have a space to dialogue about them. Yeah. How does this sound? Does this sound familiar to you? Is this a good fun or a spectrum of possibilities for the eco-social learnings? I would love to hear some feedback from you. Questions, reflections, both are welcome. Maybe I don't know if I was too quick or if it was too obvious. I would love to hear if it was too obvious. Maybe you say, oh, this is what we really do. Okay, then we are in the same page. Or something was surprising to me. I don't really share that this is part of the eco-social approach. Yeah? Does anyone want to say something? Mateja. Please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Conchi. I would just like to say it was very familiar to me.
Yeah.
And I welcome the further conversation about this topic to hear different opinions, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so important that we really listen to differences in approach. Yeah. So, Maja. Yeah.
Jaz bom kar v slovenščini, da že imamo prevajalke. Meni se je zdelo zelo zanimivo, ko ste omenili ta skrb in pa ta ženski princip. Tudi zato, ker dostikrat, mislim, govorimo o teh zgodbah ločitve, tudi kako se je človek, naprimer, ločil od narave. Prej je, naprimer, Meist povedala, da naprimer v nekaterih ljudstvu sploh ne obstaja beseda narava. In v tem kontekstu mislim, da je to pomembno, da govorimo pač tudi o tej dejansko ločitvi moškega od ženske, prevladujoča moška družba in tako dalje, in da spet tukaj poudarimo to skrb, ne samo skrb en za drugega, zase, ampak tudi skrb za našo mamo, naš planet.
Thank you, Maja. I think it's really important that this feminist perspective comes from different feminisms. What really wants to bring forward is that we really need to address in this integral paradigm. We also want to address, for instance, LGBTQI+ diversity issues like that. We really want to include in the conversation diversity among our students, diversity among ourselves. that we really understand that this is part of the conversation. In nature, there is biodiversity. In societies, we have many ways of diversity that are also very, very important for this eco-social transformation, to really include and consider all these diversities. This is why I really value that, as Mateja was saying, that people that don't think the same way also can speak up about it, because it's so important that we don't think that we are on the same floor or taking assumptions that we understand the same for what we are talking about. When we say justice, for instance, or when we say democracy, what we are really talking about in our school, to really let us make difficult questions to answer, yeah? So I see another person wants to speak, Mateja, another Mateja, so Mateja never. Go ahead, please.
Ja, lepo pozdravljeni vsi, še posebej gospa predavateljica in vsi prisotni. Jaz bi tukaj mogoče vseh teh 8 aspektov, ki ste jih vi nanizali in so zelo pomembni, ne samo za naš ekosistem, ampak dejansko za celotno družbo, med seboj so prepleteni in nekako se zopet ustavimo pri eni stvari, pri kateri se mogoče premalokrat aktivno potem vključimo, to pa je politika. In sicer jaz vidim to zadevo na tak način, da je zelo, zelo pomembno, da vnašamo, da dajemo mladim vedeti, ne vem, kako je to pri vas, ampak pri nas je situacija takšna, da predvsem mladih reče, politika ni zame, to me ne zanima. Dejansko pa politika vključuje čisto vse ravni našega življenja. In še mi ne bomo pristopili k temu, bom rekla, izzivu na način, da bomo politiko začeli na mikroravni spreminjati v nekaj pozitivnega, v nekaj dobrega, v nekaj, kar moramo ljudje vlagati v smislu kolektivne solidarnosti, strpnosti, tako kot mogoče, ne vem, so nam lahko za vzor Danci, ki plačujejo zelo visoke davke, so pa in se zavedajo, da ta denar gre v družbeno nadgradnjo, kamor sodi tudi ekologija, šolski sistem, zdravstveni sistem. Žal mi je, ker Slovenija ima zelo, zelo dober šolski sistem in ga ne bi želeli izgubiti takšnega, kot ga imamo. Nikoli pa ni dobro, dovolj dobro, da se ne bi dalo izboljšati. Zato jaz vidim, zagotovo bo to trajalo leta, da so dejansko otroci, ki jih mi zdaj vzgajamo, bodo nekoč prevzemali zelo pomembne funkcije na odločevalskih položajih. In zato morda učitelji, ali pa sem kar prepričana, lahko nosimo veliko odgovornost, na kakšen način predstavljamo teme, ki ste jih vi izpostavili v teh 8 točkah. Tudi kar se tiče istospolno usmerjenih, tudi kar se tiče sprejemanja drugačnosti ljudi s posebnimi potrebami, priseljencev, industrije, kmetovanja. Tukaj jaz mislim, da se vsak od nas, učiteljev, zaveda, da imamo pri tem zelo pomembno vlogo. In spremeniti na nek način razmišljanje o politiki in potem skozi to, skozi generacije se zagotovo to usidra kot nekaj pozitivnega in bodo tudi ljudje, ki bodo zasedali na teh položajih, lahko razmišljali drugače in ne bodo gledali z vidika poskrbim zase, ampak poskrbim za družbo in s tem bo poskrbljeno tudi zame. Samo toliko. Hvala.
Thank you very much, Mateja. I think it's really important what you are bringing. We take into consideration politics in different aspects. One of these was the agents of change that we are saying. We are really active agents of change. We really want, this is a key aspect of eco-social education. And in different ways, we can change our own school, transforming it through a consensus a conscious decision by all the community to really transform our schools from the eco-social perspective in all ways. That's micropolitics, let's say, but also we really need to address the educational laws. So we analyze the curriculum and what is the eco-social approach that the laws, the educational laws, are considering in our country. What is lacking? What can we use from those laws? So we can do also lobby as teachers, as a foundation. We can also have the aspiration to really change the educational laws. We have been working on that a lot as a foundation. And also we bring this into the conversation of with teachers, with families, even with the students. How do we integrate this in the curriculum? How do you want to learn this? Yeah. So participation, it's very important at different levels, as you were saying. For me, considering that you can change the politics and that at the same time, it's a co-responsibility scenario, because we cannot put all the responsibility in children or young or teenagers. Or we really need to show that to addressing this multidimensional crisis, everyone has responsibility. And these responsibilities are different, but we can do our thing, and we need that everyone do their own thing, yeah? And they're different in their different levels of responsibility. And this consider, of course, governments and politics in this sense, but not only institutional politics, but also politics of all other types of social agents. So I totally agree with what you are bringing. Thank you, Mateja. I don't know if anyone else. I saw there is a comment in the chat. I don't know if you want to translate it.
I can read it if you want, Conchi.
Yes.
So Nataša Pečovnik je napisala: To so vrednote, ki se začnejo razvijati v osnovni celici, družini. Vedno pogosteje se dogaja, da se otroci prvič z njimi srečajo šele v šoli.
Yeah. It's really interesting that you feel that it's coming and that is more present. I really like it. I think what we really are doing now is to make sure, as you were saying, that to reinforce these ideas, that it's a global, that it's an integral approach, that you really need all these dimensions together. And in all subjects, in all experiences in the school, so not only inside classrooms or outside classrooms, if we go in an outdoor activity with our group, but we really need to change the dining room, as you were saying. We really need to change the management. We really need to change the corridors. So there are like, it's a integral transformation of our schools, and we really need to consider the community of part of our school as part of the transformation. Yeah, so that's like part of the what we really want to reinforce is this, that all this needs to be done together. And also we have, as I was saying, the analysis of the law, educational materials, because we really know we are not talking here about challenges. But I was amazed saying, wow, there is 100 people here that are teachers that are usually really, really busy, very, very busy. And you are here today giving us your time, your intelligence for this topic, your body, everything, to be here for this conference. And that's very, very valuable. And I know you are really busy people. So one of the things that we really do as the foundation is to help to make it easy. Let's help to make it easier. Yeah. So let's help to make it as easier as we create, we call it like, how do you say, a virtuous cycle. Let's do it in a way that what is easier is to do it this way. Imagine that doing eco-social education was not an extra task for your job, or an extra time, or an extra thought, or an extra commitment, but that really is what is easier to do. I think that's a big shift. that we really make it as easier, that is as easier as breathing when we are alive. Yeah, for most of us, breathing is something that we really don't even think about. So I really think we do this through educational materials, assessments. We are now today, in fact, in the evening, we are launching an application so that the school can monitor how they are doing in all these changes, very, very practical and specific changes that I don't have time to address in this conference, but that I would love to share more in detail if you are interested, because we really want to do it very, very practical. Yeah, that is not only abstract, but that it really changes the way that we do our programs, that the changes, that the sheets that we share, the activities, like everything. Yeah, did I explain myself? I don't know if I. So I say it's integral. It has to be very, very accessible or easy, so that more and more people are part of this transformation. And I think also that we really need to integrate and acknowledge and recognize all that has been done before that is part of this framework. Because we really want to acknowledge all the work that has been done, as May was mentioning their ancestors, no, their old or their old teachers, no. But I think in this way we really know that some people that are now part of the eco-social field, they are tired. Yeah, that they are, the eco-fatigue is also part of this. That wow, now that is very common. A lot of people talk about this, but maybe I was a pioneer in this, and now I feel exhausted. What do I do with that? Because maybe I'm expected to be really, pushing everything together now. And I really need a lot of support. And I really need that resting is part of action also. Because nature do so. Yeah. Resting is also part of action. So we really need to consider that, to take care of ourselves. And yeah, and in this last minutes that we have 7 minutes, I really want to take a moment to, I said something really quick, which for me, it is really, really important, which is eco-anxiety in young people. I said it like, sure, but I really, here in Spain, we are addressing a lot of mental health situations after COVID, and I guess that is happening also there. And I really would love to hear some voices about how are you dealing with eco-anxiety? How are you addressing these mental health aspects that this civilization crisis has? Yeah. Is anyone interested in this topic? I see some comments. Mateja, can you translate? I see some comments. I don't know if they are related to the question though, but yeah. Mateja, yeah.
Thank you, Conchi. Me again. I would just like to say it was nice to hear, or that you emphasized the easiness, because I think we are complicating things that are so easy, so natural. But in the time we are living, we are under pressure and everything, and we forget just to be and to trust the process, because we do not have to reconnect with nature like we already heard today. So yeah, I think that's a very good thought. Don't complicate. You have everything you need. Just a thought I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Mateja.
Yes, sorry,
yeah.
Conchi, I also can read some
Yes, please.
chat
Yeah.
inputs in Slovene. Neža Dolinšek je napisala: ja, moja sestra sedaj študent na BIC ima težave, saj kot okoljevarstvenik spremembe okolja doživlja zelo intenzivno, kar ji prinaša anksioznost kot pogled v celotno družbo. Navede tudi, da njene sošolke imajo podobno težavo, saj se jim zdi, da so neslišani in nevidni. Starost 20 let.
Yeah. Wow, thank you very much for speaking about this. It's not easy to speak about this, to speak about anxiety or anger or sadness or grief or all these difficult emotions that we can face. It is so important, though, to consider that there are other emotions such as bonding, feeling part of, like belonging, yeah? The feeling of opportunity, of community or togetherness, wholeness. I think all this is also part of this crisis. So I think, as you are saying, it is very important to listen to these kind of difficult emotions, to give a space for the diversity of emotions that can emerge in one person or in different people in the room or in the school. And also, eco-anxiety is like, it's in its own, in a let's say in a small doses, it's our system awakening us and saying, hey, we need to change things. Yeah. So the problem is that it's not that it's part of our reaction. The problem is that what happens if we don't do anything with it. Yeah. How does this lead us to other situations that are more difficult? Yeah. So I think it's a really important aspect that we have into consideration. And I really trust that this is going to be a lot of our work in the future, to really have a space for these emotional aspects and for addressing actions that can help us to manage and cope with these emotions. So I think that's something that I know you as educators have a lot of experience in dealing with it. And I think that is very important for the rest of the society, because maybe there is not such an experience in other fields. Yeah, that is not that we are going to do therapy in our schools. It's not therapy. It's part of our dialogue and part of our conversation and part of the educational role. Yeah. So my time is beginning to an end. I really want to thank you for being here again. I really want to say that thanks to nature and thanks to the other people that made possible for us to be here today, because I'm sure that other people are taking our tasks and some of our tasks, and that enables us to be here, and nature supported us to be here, fresh, nourished, breathing, and that happens moment by moment. So thank you very much to all of you, to the communities that you are part of, and to the ecosystems that we are part of. Thank you very much.